Hi, welcome back to another episode of Lake Acres. So we're almost ready to start planting corn. We just have one major step that we need to get out of the way, and that's spraying down the pre-emerge herbicide. But before we can get to that, we have a couple things we need to take care of. The other night when we were out here finishing up tillage, I tried to fire up the water pump and it wouldn't fire up. So I did bring that home, found out there was some gas in the cylinder, cleaned up the carb a little bit, put some fresh gas in there, and it fired up right away. So hopefully that'll be good for the season, won't give me any trouble. And then after we get that down by the lake and pumping water again, we'll get the, the sprayer hooked up, and then we'll fill it up with some water and make sure that's spraying and working. And that's probably all we'll get done tonight because we're running out of light. But hopefully we'll be back tomorrow night. It's supposed to be a lot less windy tomorrow, so should make for better spraying conditions. So let's get busy. On second thought, I think I might take the tiller and just hit this real quick and get rid of these weeds that are starting to grow up, because I have a feeling this will get pretty crazy real quick if I don't do that. That's where I had the water pump last year, so this was all basically bare dirt when I did it, and this grew up pretty fast, so let's go do that real quick. Oh yeah, this is looking much better. Yeah, if I didn't do anything about those weeds, I'm sure they would be just as tall as these ones by the end of the summer, which would make it kind of difficult to get down to the water pump. So might as well take care of it now. So what I'll do is I'll set the water pump right there, and then the hose that I have to throw it in the water should reach just fine. So let's go put it in place. All right, let's see if I can do this one-handed while holding the camera. Well, the next thing we gotta do is we gotta get this tiller unhooked and then hook up the sprayer tank. Well, it's looking like I didn't write a number on this for the quick hitch last year, so I guess we'll just have to see if where it's at is good enough or if we have to move it. Well, as you can see, that's seated and this is elevated still. So looks like we're one hole off. So we're gonna have to bring this down one hole. All right, let's move this down one. You having fun?
Yes.
All right, back in business. Looks like it needs a little gentle persuasion. Oh no. Ah, it's gotta go one more hole. All right, let's try this again. Ooh, that's right. I remember that one. I gotta get that swivel head for this one. There we go. All right, take 37. All right, moment of truth. Perfect. All right, we got it attached to the quick hitch. Now we are running out of sunlight and I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to get the water pump all hooked up and pumping water right now. So let's just see if this thing will turn on and at least sound like it'll work. That sounds promising. Well, the water pump seemed to turn on, so that's a good news. Last year it didn't even turn on, so we're already ahead of the game. We don't know if it pumps water yet or not, but we're quickly running out of light tonight, so we'll have to save the water pump for tomorrow night. But I'll try and get out here as early as I can, and we can get that hooked up, get the water tank filled up, and hopefully start some spraying. So we'll see you tomorrow. All right, it is a gorgeous evening. It's just a little bit of a wind, which is perfect for spraying. So I better get busy before I lose my opportunity. I have to finish hooking up the water pump, get that working. Then we'll start filling up the sprayer and we'll mix in the chemicals and we'll be ready. First thing we gotta do is bring this hose down and get it hooked up, throw it out into the water. It's kind of a system I worked up last summer that seemed to work all right. It appears my system has broken though. I think we're gonna have to fix that real quick. Well, unfortunately I don't have any zip ties out here right now, so I'm just gonna have to throw it out and make do for now. But the idea was I had 3 zip ties kind of centering this this filter in the middle of this so it didn't sink down into the mud and just suck up a bunch of sand and silt. So hopefully this will work for now at least. It should. Looks like I got a couple of spectating loons out here. Probably not going to appreciate when I turn this water pump on, but oh well. I'm going to have to do this quick. I can already see the ants are swarming. Come on, you can sink. Wind wants to take it that way, but I want it to sink that way. Oh well. That should do for now. Got a big measuring cup, do the priming. Now I just gotta hook up the hose. I think last summer I actually sprung a leak in this hose, so. Oh shoot. I should spin this thing around. The outlet comes this way. Ants are just terrible down here. Also, pretty sure I have to have those settings really tight because I think last year I had a air leak and it caused it not to prime. All right, that should be nice and tight. This one's not as critical because not on the suction side of it. All right, all we gotta do is just prime this with some water and hopefully it'll start pumping. A little more, a little bit of a drop off there, so it's hard to get to the water. All right. All right, she fired at home, so hopefully it'll fire here. Cross your fingers. Oh no, I could have swore I drained this thing last summer. That's not good. That pump housing is cracked. Huh, well, it's just gonna have to leak because I need water. Guess I'm not getting a new pump this year. Well, that'll sit and fill for a little while. I think it takes at least 10-15 minutes if I remember correctly. So we got a few minutes to sit around and wait for that to finish filling up. I must have forgot to drain that bell housing, but could have swore I did that, but I had about 1,001 things to do last fall when I was buttoning things up, and I probably just overlooked it. I don't know how much that's going to cost to fix. Might even be cheaper just to buy a whole new one, which honestly, I can't remember what the gallons per minute on this one was, but it wasn't super high, but I wanted to get something cheap just so I could get something working, because I wasn't exactly sure how this is all going to work out, but it actually worked out really well last year. So now that I know it's a good system and reliable, maybe I'll go for a bigger pump and make sure to drain it this fall. Oops. Get out of there. Those things never fully seal. How you doing in there? Not ready? Okay. We're only a couple minutes in. Got a little ways to go. All right, I am running out of time. Sun's going down really fast, so I think I'm gonna have to do this turbo speed and not explain too much. Maybe I'll explain it in the next video so I can get this done before I lose my light. Right now I'm just unhooking a little contraption I put together for side dressing last summer that I don't really need right now. So I'm gonna hook up the regular sprayer nozzles. I think I'm just going to take those hoses off for now. Suppose I got to plug it in. Looks like the nozzles aren't clogged or anything. That's good. All right, next step, we're gonna have to calibrate how much this sprays in gallons per minute. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna measure the amount of water that comes out of each of these nozzles, and I'll do 1 minute per nozzle. All right, the first one was 40 ounces. And it looks like the second one was 48 ounces. And the third one was 54 ounces, or 52 ounces. And the fourth one is 56 ounces. All right, I got all of the herbicide in the tank. Now let's go top it off with the proper amount of water. Then we'll get out to the field and spread it. fire up the old water pump again. So I'm going to want at least 35 gallons in here. It's what I had last year and it seemed to work pretty good. I think we're at about almost 35. We're on a little bit of an angle, so it kind of skews it, but I think I'm going to go just a tad above the 35 and then call it good. So I don't have a lot of time to explain all the chemicals and whatnot that I'm using right now, but I'll try and do that in the next video. Basically, it's S-metolachlor, mesotrione, and atrazine. All right, I think that's probably good. Have to shut off our water fountain here. All right, I'm just gonna let that keep circulating while I go figure out how fast I need to drive. Well, it's cleanup time. Just got everything sprayed. Went all right, but I really don't like that GPS app that I was using, so I'm gonna have to find a different solution for that. I'll probably do a review on that and explain what the deal is with that, but right now I'm filling up the tank again with water, and I'm gonna run some tank cleaner through it, and once that runs and agitates for a little while, then I spray it through the system, and it cleans out all the hoses and nozzles and everything. And then I think I'm gonna pack it up and go home.